I'm Stewart.
And I'm Paul.
And this week we're watching Slasher House.
So, Slasher House is, as the name suggests, a bit of a slasher, horror, crazy psychedelic film. Basically, the main story centres around Red, the female character, who wakes up in a prison trapped with 5 serial killers.
Yeah, it's more of a mental asylum.
Yeah.
Well, either way.
Prison mental asylum
Yeah.
is, it drips in horror aesthetic, doesn't it, really?
I don't remember anything. How I got here, where I'm from, who I am. Nothing.
What are you doing?
Getting some answers.
So yeah, you kind of watch her try and figure out what's going on, why she's been placed there, and who the hell these other crazy serial killers are that are after her. So yeah, it's a wild ride.
Now it's showtime!
Yeah, they slowly reveal more and more of these serial killers.
Yeah.
Who, it's more fantasy than real life. They've got
Definitely.
crazy costumes. They look like there's something out of Silent Hill. The way they're introduced is kind of like the boss in a video game almost. Like they suddenly arrive.
Yeah.
Suddenly arrive on the scene and they're very iconic looking. None of them are very similar at all.
The imagery of it is so strong, especially like they've got the clown character, but each one of them has their own individual kind of style to it, and like what you say, it's very fantasy-esque.
Yeah.
So it's just creating almost this other world within where the contained horror is set, really, which is really nice and very well done.
It's like the serial killers of this world are almost like supervillains.
Yeah.
So they've got over-the-top costumes that they don't really need, but they're quite scary. And they've got signature weapons. One of them has a big meat cleaver.
You wake up with the character in this universe.
Yeah.
So you're there totally exposed, not understanding the rules of the world, and you see it all through Red's eyes. And I thought that worked really well to help you identify with the character and really care about where's this character going? Why is she there? Who is she? And it's a good use of that kind of drawing you in, I suppose. Females don't tend to get a great representation within horror films. I have no idea why, to be honest, but it does seem that they're put there just to scream and look pretty and run around.
Which you do kind of presume at the beginning. It's obvious she's the protagonist, but she acts very early on like this scared little girl in some cases, and you're like, oh no, this is going to be one of those.
Is it going to be that convention?
Yeah.
But MJ Dixon, the director, flips that on its head quite nicely with the introduction of another character called Nathan.
What are you doing?
Who's the male character. He embodies what I would say a lot of the female characters in a lot of horror films embodies.
He's a scaredy cat. He's like, oh my god, we're going to die!
Again, it's done really nice, and it's relatively subtle in its execution because Red, as you say, grows as a character, but by the end, she's in control. Use of colour in this whole film. One of the main things that drew me to it, as well as the budget, which was interesting, something so low budget, was the stylistic kind of choices the director made, certainly around the area of colour. The director MJ has changed this round, the Hispanic round, and used very strong greens and very strong reds, which contrast very nicely in an aesthetically pleasing way. But what it also allows to do is really bring out the reds of the bloods, the reds of the gore. I mean, red as the character, that's obviously not an accident. She's wearing this bright red dress, bright red hair, but all the prison around her is green, which gives it that otherworldly view, really, doesn't it? And it, for me, the colour aspect was one of the biggest things that I just thought, wow, I've not seen that before.
Takes a bit of a big risk, though.
A massive risk,
because
definitely.
You look at it and you're like, ooh, it's not easy on the eyes.
No, it's gory and garish, I suppose. They're using the motif nicely. It doesn't just crop up here and there. It's all one big thought process.
Something we did with Rats.
Rats was similar, yes.
We stole the idea. We hadn't seen Slash House.
We hadn't.
But Rats has very different colour tones as the story progresses. So check it out. There's a link here. So I'd say, watching the film, it is scary in quite a few points, but it may not have been so well done as it could have, because I think the main scares come from, like a lot of modern films these days, is sudden loud noises. Yeah,
the jump, boom type things. Okay,
and I think, the sound levels on the film weren't necessarily done as well as they could have been, but you can imagine that perhaps they didn't have.
Again, $5,000.
It's $5,000. So you can really appreciate it.
Exactly.
But it does scare the hell out of you when the sound levels jump from you. You turn it up a bit to hear them talk, and then suddenly this monster jumps out of you.
There are, as you say, there's the drawbacks with the level of money that they're talking about. But equally, there's a lot of brilliant cinematography in there. There's lovely moving shots. They've used the environment well. Introducing the idea of the bars and moving around the shots and stuff. Lots of tracking shots, which the making of, it's just those little plastic tracks that we've all used and loved, but they're using them to really great advantage. So it's quite interesting how we kind of stumbled across Slasher House. It was at the Horror on Sea Film Festival last year. This year, excitingly,
our film's going to be there. Rats, our short, crazy 80s creature feature, is going to be at Horror on Sea on the 18th of January, so you should come.
Check that out.
But Paul was kind of trolling the last year's festival, and you found that it was shown there as well.
It's a brilliant little festival, it really is. It's obviously horror-based, but they show films from all over the world, all different budget types and subgenres of horror. We were very lucky to get our film placed in the festival this year. It's a very strong competition. But last year I thought, we'll check out what kind of things have come through the system. And Slasher House really stood out for me. It was very, very aesthetically pleasing. It had really striking images. The use of colour was really strong.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that it was made on $5,000 in the UK as a micro-budget film, had to check it out.
So, I hope you've enjoyed our review of Slasher House. We certainly enjoyed it, and you should definitely buy it.
Yeah, check it out.
Next week, we're watching Confine.
Yeah.
Signed copy as well, which Paul got somehow.
Contained thriller, going to be a lot of fun. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
action kind of starts with Red, the main character, the female character, waking up
butt naked.
So, I don't know where to go from there.